Peace, peace, peace. I am Phillip Roundtree, and you are tuned into the May 27th edition of Rhetorically Speaking. Shout out to the people who are watching on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Shout out to the people who are watching on Facebook Live. At some point, y'all gonna have to go to YouTube and subscribe at Quantify LLC so the brother could see his numbers start to rise. Wasn't this a dance at one point? I don't remember the song. What song was that? I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? But racks on racks on racks on racks. Racks on. All right. There we go. Yeah, I'm dating myself just a little bit with the corny songs. And shout out to the people who are watching on YouTube Live. I am streaming. I'm only gonna be on here for a few minutes. Shout out to Uncle Tyler in the morning, saying thank you for the work that I'm doing out here. And he made sure he said, "Bro, much appreciated out here in North Idaho." North Idaho, is he a brother? A brother in North Idaho. I listen. Damn, that warms my heart. Appreciate you, brother. I hope you stay safe because I don't know what there is to do in Idaho. Um, so yeah, salute to you. So tonight's episode, I'm straying away a little bit from what's been dominating the news, which is it's not even for real Christian Cooper anymore. The brother who was just sitting there bird watching, the brother who used to work for Marvel and apparently introduced some dope LGBTQ plus characters into Marvel Comics. Salute to him. It's not about Amy Cooper. I don't even want to disrespect her. Well, not disrespect her, but disrespect the Karens out in the world. We know there's a lot of black Karens that exist. And like I said yesterday, Becky's, even though they have ill intentions when they call the police, is not necessarily to have you kill. And we know that white women's tears and screaming in a frantic voice will have the police respond in a certain way. So yeah, we're not really talking about that today. I will mention briefly about the good brother, Mr. Floyd, God bless the dead, who was murdered on Monday by a rogue police officer. As you know, up in Minnesota, four police officers were fired. The mayor of Minneapolis has now come out and said, listen, that officer needs to be charged. I just saw a post, and the reason why I'm not posting it here is because I haven't authenticated it yet. It hasn't come across a mainstream news source. But that brother who killed him, that I ain't gonna call him a brother, that person who murdered him, they was outside his crib. They was outside his crib and they were ready for that work. Shout out to my man Chino who subscribed already. Appreciate you, brother. They were outside and they ready. I don't know what their intentions are, but listen, I'm all for a little bit of fear and putting fear in the hearts of people who exhibit egregious behaviors. This woman commented on the post of mine and said, on the post that because I reposted the address. And she said, I hope there are no children there. And my response was, I hope there aren't any children there either. Right? But if there are, and it might seem kind of harsh to go, but listen, when you murder somebody in cold blood, it's consequences and repercussions to that. And what happened is you're not only putting yourself at danger, you're putting your family, you're putting your friends at danger. And so, hey, listen, man, it's a byproduct. And people got to start thinking about that before they start acting in the manner that he acted, killing the good brother up there in Minneapolis. I'm taking phone calls today, man. 267-420-2070. I haven't done that yet since I've been running this show because I never really take a time to breathe when I'm talking. So I'm going to try to slow down. I had me a little puff of my CBD pen, so I'm going to calm a little bit. But yeah, we want to hear your thoughts, even if it's just to vent. Even if it's just to vent. I'm also doing Skype. If you want to Skype in, if you got your face beat on, male, woman, or person. If you don't got a haircut, you can feel free to join the rest of us, and I could pull you on screen if you know how to handle yourself. And that's again at rhetorically speaking at outlook.com. So the topic tonight is black trauma. Does everyone's experience truly matter? And so you might be wondering where this topic came from. And if you follow me on social media, which clearly many of you are watching me on like Facebook Live or YouTube or on Instagram, you know I was in my posting bag today. You know I'm in my posting bag, and I'm always about pushing the conversation forward. Because I believe that's how we learn. I believe that's how we grow. We can't rest on our laurels. We can't just put this energy out there and that be it. Or if you are going to do that, don't do it in my presence, because you will receive pushback. You will have me questioning you. And like I say, I'm doing this out of love. I know it's the cliche line that iron sharpens iron. I don't know. But I know it's preparation. It's preparation for not only me, but preparation for you when ish gets real. And so we need you thinking at higher levels. I'm out here trying to say that I'm right or wrong. But it's all about the thinking. It's like the hood philosopher. You know what I mean? And so with this topic, black trauma, does everyone's experience truly matter? Make sure you get your thoughts off in the comments. Because again, if anything, this is just an open forum event. I'm all right with that. Because, you know, that's just the therapist in me. And so today I made a post. And those watching on Facebook and YouTube can see. It says, is this an appropriate time to say, black men who are outraged, we need this level of participation when it's queer black men, black women, trans women, non-binary folk, and others with the same you as you with whom you don't culturally identify? Yes, it is. Take heed. You know what I mean? And the response that I got from that was overwhelming. The response I got from that is overwhelming. The good brother C. Solomon says I might have to identify what trauma is. Just because I'm feeling kind, I ain't got a lot of time on here tonight. But just because I'm feeling kind, because I typically might say go to Google, man. Because again, these are the things we got to do. We could teach one another, but then we also have to teach people how to use the necessary resources. And I know it's not necessarily for you, C. Solomon, right? But trauma is any experience that you consider adverse. Trauma is unique to the individual. So somebody yelling at me might not necessarily be traumatic, but them yelling at you could potentially be traumatic, right? And so it impacts your life. It impacts how you show up. It impacts your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, which we know impacts your behavior. And so that's just a little brief definition of what trauma is. And so the reason why I brought up that question, like, is this an appropriate time to talk about all the other black folk who are experiencing issues and problems and are being murdered because of displaying blackness, is because the brother Aria Baker, saw him yesterday on social media, and I talked about it a little bit. To sum it up, he's like, listen, black men, we need y'all. Black women, we need y'all. We need each other. It can't just be when these situations take place and they hit the mass media and we have outrage. It's queer folk out here dying. There's trans women out here dying. There's black women out here dying. There's non-binary people out here dying. It's not necessarily a war on black men. This is a war on blackness. And if you don't know what blackness is, I need you to go read some books. I need you to go Google. But it's a war on blackness. And at first I pushed back in my mind and I said, no, it's not that time, brother. But then I had to say, Phil, when is it ever time to speak on things that matter and to protest and to advocate on things that matter? It's never the perfect time. What change in history has ever took place at an opportune time? I can't think of any. I can't think of any. No, it's usually when something ill goes down. Like these murders, like the rapes that's taking place, like the murders of trans women, like the asbestos that's taking place in Philly schools, the lack of internet service that caused students in AP classes to have to go stand outside of McDonald's so they can do their work. Because unfortunately, they live in the city of Philadelphia. And they don't come from a background where they can even have a $29.99 internet package. Like the good brother C. Solomon said, there's never a bad time for revolution. But you wouldn't think that based on the pushback that I received. From the pushback that I received. It was a lot of, no, this ain't the time. No, this ain't it. No LGBTQ issues in the midst of this. Bear with me. I'm trying to bring up my post, which has a lot of these responses. And so some people are just like, no, it's not the right time. Nah, fam, I'm sorry, we can't keep fighting for everyone else. Who is everyone else? I know who everyone else is. And see, when people talk about hetero cis black men and how they behave like white men, their oppressor, this is the example. Because you differentiate yourself. Okay, here, it's hetero cis black men here, and there's everybody else that's black over here. And we make up the largest numbers of those who are incarcerated. And so my thing is, well, damn, if we talking about rape culture, let's look at the statistics on who's being sexually assaulted and murdered. It's black women survivors. Let's look at who's not being publicized in the media, whose murders go unknown. Let's talk about trans women. You get what I'm saying? And so it became this conversation of trauma Olympics. So I guess black men got the gold. And I guess we could put black women with the silver. And see, I'm debating between giving the black woman the silver and the black trans women the silver because at least they got statistics on the board. Trans women get nothing. Nonsense, right? Yeah, I thought so too. See, it takes me recognizing my own privilege to me to be able to ask this question, is it the right time? Again, it's never the right time. See what some of these comments to say. Is there an appropriate amount of time to give a murdered soul his or her spotlight and cries for justice as it pertains to them specifically, sexuality aside? Again, Chris, this is a war on blackness. This ain't about spotlight. The spotlight is on blackness. That's what the war is. In this instance, it happened to be a man. But if we look in all areas, we see this war on blackness in every other area. Why? Because this one was singled out, that it has to get the quote unquote attention. So yes, it's getting the attention, right? It's getting the attention, as it should. But y'all know my favorite line, this bigger than Nino Brown. And so me, I'm not looking at the micro situation. Because that's when you miss the forest for the trees. You got to look at the macro. When you look at the macro, you say, yo, this is bigger than Floyd. This is bigger than Ahmaud. White supremacy ain't got no picks. But white supremacy has influenced you to pick. How ill is that? How ill is that? Now, with some people, shout out to the woman leader who commented on my post. She was in full understanding of what that looks like. Again, this isn't about shifting conversations. Only those who can't see the bigger picture think that it's shifting the conversation. And that's not to shade anybody. Because I got love for Chris. Known him since I was a youngster. But I disagree. And so I have to let Chris know, Chris, I need you to step back and look at the bigger picture, brother. This is about a war on blackness that manifested itself in his death. That manifested itself in our schools. That manifests itself in our debt to income ratio. What did Nino say when he got on the stand? He started talking about the brother from the bank. He started talking about this person and that person. Because why? It's bigger than just him. And so, yes, we can show love, we can show reverence for this one black man. But the issue is, once we show this love and this reverence for one black man, we continue on. But what if we shift the thought process to, again, think about it holistically? What that would look like. Let me get to these comments. Walt Bynum says, would it be the same as saying blue lives matter when people are saying black lives matter? No, it would not. Because we're talking about blackness. We're talking about blackness. This is an umbrella. We're all under this umbrella. This isn't about the human umbrella. Because we recognize the difference between blue lives matter. Blue lives aren't at risk. Blue lives are the ones causing the issues within the community. Black Lives Matter is saying, listen, we understand that all lives matter, but somehow under this umbrella, we aren't seen. Black folk aren't seen. And so what this is saying is, blackness isn't seen. No matter if you got a dick, no matter if you got a vagina, doesn't matter. Somebody with a certain type of you, they're experiencing the issue. Another reason why it's not Blue Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. You know who I see posting about Floyd, posting about Christian Cooper, posting about Ahmaud? Everybody that's black. Everybody that's black. So when I say I see Aria Baker, he's posting about Floyd. He's posting about Ahmaud. When I see Jazz Riley post, they're posting about Floyd. They're posting about Ahmaud. They're saying, yo, we here too. The black woman is saying, listen, when the high number of black men are in jail, who's out here taking care of business, taking care of family? The black woman. So where y'all at? Where y'all at? Let's see what the community experiment says. Douglas, do you agree with A.G. Gaston, Frederick Douglass, and Jay-Z when he said in the story of O.J. that financial freedom is our only way? Oh man, that's. I think it's not the way Jay meant it. Not billionaire Jay. No, 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 no. Because like AOC said, you don't make $1 billion, you take $1 billion. And so you having $1 billion and me and the average black person being in the negative, that's problematic. And so when we talk about the idea of financial freedom, what does that look like outside of the individual? But what does it look like as a collective? What does it look like as a community? Now, I know y'all love bringing up Black Wall Street. That's typically what we go to, right? Which I'm sure was a beautiful time. But again, is money going to make the difference? And how are we going to generate our own dollars? How are we going to maneuver our money as a community? If at first we can't even understand that blackness is all encompassing. So I don't even know if I necessarily answered your question. The thing is, I don't know. I'm not optimistic that we'll ever know. Because that's not how the system works. Let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any other comments. I mean, blue lives don't matter. I can't get into that, right? Because like I said yesterday, my next door neighbor is a dope person and she's a cop. Her life absolutely matters. Do I agree with the decision to be a cop? It's not for me to speak to. But I do know that her life matters. Because there are some who believe that you got to infiltrate the system. Be that proverbial spook who sat by the door in order to change the system. That's not necessarily me, but I would never sit and say that blue lives don't matter. Right? Because I'm still human. I think that's what gets lost in these rants and these conversations that I can continue to have. I'm still human. I still like people. I like white people. You know what I mean? I'll be lying if I say I don't. I was just chatting with my man Jamie earlier. What I don't like is white folk who not aware of their privilege. What I don't like are black men, hetero cis black men in particular, who aren't aware of their privilege. What I don't like are black queer men who are unaware of their privilege. Because that's when we could talk about a hierarchy. Because we know who the attention goes to. We know who the resources go to. Even though we're being told otherwise. And so again, it's bigger than Nino Brown. Let me see. Let's see what my man Mike said. He says, in terms of being in an ally, don't I need to see everyone under the umbrella of blackness? Exactly. Exactly. What are you telling allies? Yo, black men. That's who you need to be taking care of. Oh yeah, I forgot. Because we still continue with this structure of the black family. Right? We still pushing that idea. The head of household. Then everybody is under. I ain't gonna speak to religion. As Sam says, I think we equally have to involve God more. No shade, Sam. Listen, if Allah could make Sharif a better man, I'm all for it. But what I do know is some of the ideals and some of the archaic teachings don't necessarily correlate to what's happening in 2020. And so when we say the man is the head of the household, listen, how does that work for queer folk? How does that work for non-binary folk when there's no male in the household? You know what I mean? And so when I think about this question, does everyone's experience truly matter? The social worker, the therapist in me says yes. The social worker therapist in me says, of course, everyone's experience matters. But the realist in me says not at all. Everyone's experience doesn't matter. Like Mike says, we live in a caste system. It's a hierarchy. And so what goes into that hierarchy are people's individual experiences. I was talking to a Haitian homegirl of mine earlier. Shout out to Danielle, the lawyer, making it happen. And she like, yo, when X, Y, and Z happened with Haitians in New York, the entire Haitian community came together. And I said, of course. I get it. We know why that is, because they have an identity. They have an identity as a collective. They got their own individual flag. Right? Black folk here in America who were born here, we have the American flag that refuses to view us as citizens. But then you go over to different countries and they view you as American. And they have preconceived notions about Americans. And so now you in this damned if you do, damned if you don't state. Something that my favorite writer, James Baldwin, always spoke so eloquently about. There is no identity as a collective. Because why? We can't view this person as being black. Their experience matters more. Instead of viewing it as it hindering the collective. What else y'all saying out there? Tyree says we have to create good people, build real bonds, and teach the kids. John Owen says, when I see the American flag hanging from my home, it feels like a dressed up Confederate flag. My neighbor, a good white guy. Good white guy, man. He'll mow my lawn. He's always happy to see me. But when he posts that American flag up, because he one of those neighbors that posts stuff up every holiday. When he posts that up, I'm like, ugh. So I feel exactly what John's saying. It feels the same to me. You know what it feels like. And again, I can't imagine what it feels like for America to call the place, the country that you're in, to feel like home. My homie Kabana from Ghana. I'm sure when he goes back there, he feels like home. This don't feel like home. But Africa don't feel like home to me neither, even though I've never been. It can't be my home. My home is America, with whom I continue to have a love-hate relationship with. What flag should black Americans display? I don't know. That's a luxury conversation to have. You can't start having conversations about what flag should black Americans display until you have black Americans on one accord as to what being black means and what that experience means. You think we got time to worry about a flag? But if anything, it's red, black, and green. You know what I mean? Chris says we don't have a home yet. We have a house. Touche. Touche. I think we get caught up and try to explain, right? Even though we recognize that our allies are the ones who have to do the work. But being able to have healthy dissent, that's needed if we're talking about growing. You should be able to disagree on this post and us still love and respect each other because we're black at the end of the day. But I guess that's what the post is saying in itself. Again, I'm no mortal man. Mike says, white people who perpetuate the racist system in this country don't see a het cis black man. They don't see a black woman. They don't see a black trans woman. They simply see blackness and judge. And that's my white homie. I don't want to call you white, Mike, but you white. You just a little melanin deficient. White people who perpetuate the racist system in this country don't see a hetero cis black man. They don't see a black woman. They don't see a black trans woman. They simply see blackness and judge. But yet, we have people sitting back and arguing about who should be getting the spotlight. You should drop the mic, Mike, and no pun intended, and walk out. That was heavy. That was heavy. And so, yes, the therapist me, the social worker me says, listen, every black experience matters. They're all necessary. They all should be eye-opening to the collective. I think in order to get to that state where it does, and like I told some of the people on the various posts of mine that I was commenting on, we need to start pushing back in a way that's going to elicit one to seek first to understand. So we have to start pushing back against one another. This morning I woke up kind of early. The melatonin did me a little good last night. Woke up about 5:15. I'm looking out the window because I'm that old man who, when I hear any type of noise, I run to the window. Yo, cut all that out. And I see 4 young black boys, the teenagers, and one of them is, and it's 5:15 in the morning, and one of them is talking about how this girl chewed him. And then she stopped and said, I don't want you to think that I'm a whore. And he said, no, that's how I know you really feeling me. And all I could do was do like this. I wanted to run outside. Hindsight 2020, I probably should have. To say, young black boy, young black brother, you worth more than that. Outside of her, you're worth more than that. In this narrative that a lot of people bring up, talking about the 400 years of the black man being viewed as a sexual predator, etc., etc., it's these type of conversations. So yeah, I missed the teachable moment. But that pushback is necessary. Listen, I've been sitting watching season 6 of A Different World. During quarantine, I watched the whole series. Probably about my 6th or 7th time watching the entire series. And the more I watch it, I sit and watch this sixth season, and I'm like, there will never be a show to compare to this. The unfortunate talking points that are reminiscent that are present here today. Just watch the young brother have a gun on him because white folks scared him. Him and Charmaine. And made him jump down the hill, so he had a gun that he had since he was in junior high school. And so I sit and I look and say, here we are in 2020. That was 1992, 93. 27 years later, and it's the same conversation. And I know that's something that's been big, something that's been pushed. Black folk, go get your guns. Go get your guns. I'm not here to tell you whether or not to go get a gun. The Second Amendment exists for a reason. But what I will say is, because I'm a man of statistic, I'm a man of fact. Statistics show that a lot of people become victims of their own gun in some form or fashion. Statistics show that your intent doesn't align for what it's actually used for. And we talking about domestically violent situations. And we know that those abusers, both women and men and persons, they get the gun for protection. But you got the gun here and you're in the midst of a heated argument and it's pow. Go watch Fatal Attraction. Go watch Snapped. So again, I'm not saying don't go get a gun or to get a gun. But you need to know what the statistics and the studies show when it comes to gun ownership. I saw a brother who said, yo, you lucky I wasn't around when this happened. I would have jumped on him. I hope the black community got bail money for me. You know what I got to add to this? I got to add Cole. Remember that Martin? Somebody already done finished the line. Cole, sit your $5 ass down before I make change. The New Jack City line. Not because I didn't understand what he was talking about. I understood the thoughts, the feelings, and emotions that would have him think that this is a behavior that he would do. But no, my brother. That's not helpful for the cause. All we're looking at is another dead black man. We're looking at another hashtag. We're looking at a community mourning another member. Because he wasn't thoughtful, because he wasn't strategic in his planning. I'm sitting here reading Revolutionary Suicide by Huey Newton of the Black Panthers. And strategy was everything. Strategy continues to be everything. How can we position ourselves to be in a place where we have some semblance of a collective voice? Because we see what our efforts can do. Got that white woman fired. Shoot, the reason why that whole thing probably went down is because them white people didn't seen that dog being abused. But we know how to get things happening out here. And so this might stray a little bit if we talk about solutions. And again, I don't have it all. But I know I have to start thinking towards that way. So solution, handle shit in your life. Handle things in your life. We know the myths about credit. Start working on your credit. That helps us all. Smile at a brother when you walking past him. Don't do the up north grit. I told the story before. I went to a Black Enterprise event. Whole bunch of brothers celebrating one another. I'm on the plane. This brother from New Haven, Connecticut, Frank Brady's, I'm sitting next to him, and he wanted to start chatting me up. And I'm like, dog, do you ever stop talking? Why are you so happy? Ain't that the most unhealthy perspective that one could have? Why are you so happy? Why are you so happy? And y'all might not say it, but y'all damn sure thinking it. What you smiling for? What's wrong with you? Oh yeah, you must be gay, right? Because you smiling a lot. And he chatted me up. And so I felt comfortable. We chatted back. We get off the plane. We get in there. Whole bunch of black men walking around smiling, talking to one another. And I had just quit my job to become a full-time entrepreneur 2 days earlier. And so I'm at this Black Enterprise event walking around with the stone face, with the Philly face. So you, and I said you like I'm from Baltimore. So not only am I a full-time entrepreneur, which means I have no steady income, which means that I have to rely on people to help me financially by purchasing my products. And I'm sitting around here walking around like no new friends. I need all the friends I can get. And so from that moment on, I recognized that whatever it was that was in me, that was born, that was bred in Philadelphia, wasn't going to serve me. And so when we talking about solutions, smiling at another brother, saying, "What's up? What's up, brother?" I never understood why old folk do it. What's happening now? All right now. Don't even give you a chance to finish. But then I realized they happy to be here. These are the things we can do at minimum. I don't know if y'all remember that commercial where somebody do something nice for somebody and they continue to pay it forward. They had a movie, Pay It Forward. That's what smiles do too. You never know who needs it. Again, we're talking about the bare minimums. We're not talking about buying the block back. We're not talking about employing 1,000 people. What we're talking about is smiling, brother. Smiling, sister. Smiling, person. That's a solution. That's how we ingratiate ourselves to another. That's how we promote this idea of healthy blackness. We talking about therapy. A lot of what we've experienced, a lot of what we're seeing is not healthy. We need somebody to talk to about it. Yes, it could be a white person. But it's important to get that out. It's important to get that energy out. Because what will happen is it'll continue to fester. And you grumpy. And you're hurting inside. That's how we celebrate blackness. That's how we promote this idea of blackness. I'm okay with sharing the videos. I'm okay with sharing the images. I wasn't at one point. But I had to hear and recognize that this is a part of protest. Yeah, we hear about Emmett Till. But if his mother didn't leave that casket open so we can see his bloated face, which was a result of those white women tears and the outright lies, we wouldn't never know the true impact. So I'm okay with the sharing of the videos. Me, I won't engage in it because I don't believe in recreational trauma and watching videos of such. I say it all the time, I've seen it all. But y'all ingesting that. And yes, we know you're resilient. We know you've had to be resilient. But stop clicking them videos. If it ain't in you to share, don't share. If it ain't in you to not comment on this, don't comment. Energetically, I was so low all day because I kept having these conversations with folk. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. So I'm going to have y'all out here thinking. I'm going to have y'all looking beyond the looking glass. Because again, it's necessary. I'll leave all the high and mighty stuff in order to engage the black community. I'll leave that to Diddy. I'll leave that to Jay-Z. All right, I'll leave it to the shade room. All that black excellence. Do me a favor right now. Inhale, exhale. That's black excellence right there. Why? Because you can breathe. Because you're alive. And as I say, the goal should always be to go from living to thriving. I'm disappointed, man. I ain't getting no phone calls tonight. I ain't getting no Skype-ins. But it's all love. Listen, I appreciate y'all who tuned in, who commented. Mike, Chris on the gram. That's who's you. I appreciate you. I see you, Justin Nola. You might be lurking. I still got more words for you too, brother. Again, it's all in love. It's all in love. And we could go, we could have a drink. We could laugh it up and talk about how New Orleans fans are awful. We could do all of that. 504, I like Master P. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tyree. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to Eric Person. Shout out to Sam, Walt, J.O. Trying to make sure I catch everybody. Everybody else who commented, man. I appreciate you all. We'll be back tomorrow, though. Same time. Hopefully we got something fun to talk about. Talk to you. Peace.